This is V1 smartpad, not a normal tablet, not a notebook app, and not another dashboard. It is the first physical surface where intent, ink, voice, files, research, and network execution begin to meet. The thesis has sharpened. The smartpad matters because it gives Nightwing a deliberate physical surface, somewhere to write, speak, mark, ask, and return without losing the thread. Normal tablets are powerful, but their operating model is still wrong for this job. They begin with apps, keyboards, notifications, and mode switches. Nightwing needs a surface that begins with thought. The real problem is not screen size. It is that thought arrives before structure. A useful smartpad has to catch the messy beginning, a mark, a question, a voice note, a page, a file, a command. The answer is a quiet home surface that behaves like intelligent paper. It is visually restrained, but underneath it carries local state, routes input, and connects to PCOS when deeper reasoning is needed. In the Nightwing hardware family, V1 has a specific role. It is more deliberate than the wrist node, lighter than the PC, and more personal than a room display. It is the surface where a thought becomes a request. The RU-RT-RTEB103C gives us a real field body. It is Android 11, e-ink, Wacom capable, and large enough for reading and writing. That makes it a serious test shell for V1. The current path is deliberately safe. Launcher, keyboard, overlay, accessibility where enabled, local files, and a PCOS bridge. Root and privileged hooks may come later, but V2 cannot depend on them. The visual goal is not a tablet launcher. It is closer to a blank page with a quiet system underneath. Minimal, precise, paper native, and detailed only where detail earns its space. The home page should not feel like a dashboard. It should feel like a page. You can write, draw, speak, or ask, and Nightwing responds where the page has room. Every input method contributes to one context bundle. Pen, voice, typing, app context, files, and page geometry all become part of the request instead of living in separate tools. The device should remember sequence, not just content. What was open, what was marked, what was said, what was sent, what came back, and what was saved. The live probe confirms the pen stack is worth building around. Pressure, eraser, end signal, side buttons, hover presence, and raw ink capture all belong in the V1 language. Voice should not be a separate app. It should work while writing, stream to PCOS when available, and fall back locally when needed. The goal is one merged prompt, not competing inputs. Drawing is not failed handwriting. It is a separate thinking mode. V1 needs to preserve sketches as spatial evidence while still recognizing actual written language when that is the mode. Typing remains useful, but it should become an afterthought. The keyboard should appear when asked, not invade the homepage or replace the pen-first design. Nightwing should not answer like a chat box bolted onto paper. It should answer into available space, close to the relevant mark when possible, with text and optional speech. The overlay is the research habit. Open a PDF in XReader, mark the page, tap Nightwing, write or speak one question, and send the capture to PCOS for analysis. Apps still matter. The drawer should exist, search should work, and settings must always be reachable. But the app grid should not be the starting point of the device. The device must not lose a thought, because PCOS is offline. It should queue locally, write durable files, and retry when the bridge is back. A full launcher still needs visible escape routes. Settings, keyboard selection, app recovery, and diagnostics are not failures. They are what make the device safe to experiment on. Nightwing remains the mind. It reads the context bundle, remembers the broader project, interprets intent, and replies with something useful. Nightwork is the hands. It plans, runs, inspects, repairs, and verifies. One sees work, is the hands, inspects, repairs, and verifies. On V1, Nightwork should be visible as work orders. The PCOS bridge is the live channel between the smartpad and the machine that can do heavier work, better ASR, better TTS, larger context, file generation, and Nightwork execution. The smartpad needs a clear path into network, not just chat. A request should become a visible work order with scope, risk, approval, evidence, and result. The execution flow is simple. Capture the page, route through V1 agent, ask Nightwing or Nightwork as needed, and return the result with evidence. Agentic control has to be powerful, without becoming invisible. V1 needs risk levels, approval states, and clear boundaries for anything that changes files, apps, or system state. Diagnostics are not a side panel for developers, they are the truth surface for the launcher. Every capability should report whether it works, needs permission, needs PCOS, or is blocked. The native V1 agent is the local nervous system. The UI should not own behavior directly, it sends intents. The agent reads capability truth, chooses the route, and logs the result. The home page should visualize core actions without becoming a raw terminal. Plan, run, inspect, verify, repair, stop, and save should appear as calm, legible states. Research mode is where V1 becomes obvious. Reading an AI paper, marking the margin, and asking Nightwing should produce reusable context instead of a fleeting chat. Papers need a first-class home on the tablet. The device should know what is in the PDF inbox, what was opened recently, and where the reader left off. The page should create durable files, not just transient chat. Markdown is the human-readable layer. JSON sidecars preserve raw context for reconstruction. Local context keeps the system quick. Before building a large prompt, Nightwing should be able to read small local files, protocol, research context, response history, and user device profiles. The desired workflow is ordinary and powerful. Read a paper, mark something, ask a question, let PCOS produce analysis, and save the result back into the research folder. The overlay turns any open page into a question surface. The user should not have to leave XReader to ask Nightwing what a paragraph means. Research should feed the PCOS rather than sit in a separate node pile. Every capture can become evidence, memory, and future context. The build method changed after the first launcher attempts. We now prototype the system in a simulator, coordinate through repo files, and only then push native builds to the RU-ERTU. Every capability is modeled as available, intent only, partial, PCOS routed, or blocked. That lets the UI show reality instead of pretending the device can do everything. The RU-ERTU hack lane is real, but Launcher V2 does not depend on it. The code should prepare privileged seams while shipping through safe Android surfaces today. The full version moves speech quality to PCOS. The tablet captures audio, PCOS transcribes, Nightwing responds, and speech returns to the device as audio. Handwriting improves through recognition, correction, and profile memory. The current baseline is MLKit, but the RU2 vendor input stack gives us a strong reference for smooth behavior. The open source stack is a set of engines, not the identity of the product. Speech, TTS, Markdown, and keyboard references help, but V1 is the product layer above them. Every page should be reconstructible. Raw ink, OCR candidates, voice transcript, app context, local files, Nightwing response, and placement should all be recoverable. The project has moved from concept into working simulator plus native path. The launcher exists, the bridge exists, the IME scaffold exists, and capability health can be exported from the tablet. The current evidence is enough to keep building, but not enough to claim final device behavior. Some pieces work, others are partial until permissions and pen events are proven on hardware. The next proof is native device truth. Pen hover and buttons need live confirmation. Nightwing Pen should become the default IME if desired. Accessibility can enrich app context, and PCOS online tests close the loop. The roadmap starts with the handshake between simulator truth and RU-ERTU truth. Then it hardens research capture, voice, TTS, and the Nightwork terminal until the device becomes boringly reliable. The immediate ask is not vague. Converge simulator truth and RU-ERTU truth. Keep the capability registry honest and use the video to explain what V1 is becoming. The thesis is sharper now. V1 is not a tablet skin. It is a paper-native command surface where human intent, local device state, Nightwing interpretation, and Nightwork execution converge.